Kia ora te whānau, we're live, Altbays Show, brought to you by Altbays.nz. If you are watching us right now, you are on YouTube, so make sure to subscribe to our channel to support the team so we can keep bringing cool, beautiful people to have this real corero. It's been a pleasure. This is our show number 190. Can I have some claps there? Yeah, rock and roll. Very, 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 very special for us. It's been a trip. It's been a cool journey. And thank you so much for being with us. We are on podcast, obviously, so you will find us on all the leading audio platforms as well, which is pretty cool. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, so make sure to follow us there. Our media group also publishes the Coral Mind magazine behind me. Can you see it there? I hope you can. There you go. If you are listening to us, you cannot see the cover, so you just go straight to coralminds.nz so you can read the online version. And we also have an epic audio version because accessibility matters. It's a community made by the community for the community and also to the whole world because we are international, baby, of course. So the people from this community have a lot to share.
Just a little bit.
You know, right? So we are understanding that. So it's good to have a platform that can reach and inspire people from all over the world. On my left, what a pleasure, Maddie Johnson!
Hey, kia ora mai tātou.
What's up?
What's up?
What's up? You good?
What's up? I'm good. Kei te pihea koe.
Thank you so much for joining us. What a pleasure.
Thank you for having me along. Been a little bit of a fangirl for our guest tonight.
Ooh. You got some cool things happening in June?
I do. I am a big mental health advocate. Recently, some dear friends of ours lost a daughter, sister, auntie. So for the entire month of June, we are doing 5K walks and runs. We have a little page that you can koha to. And I'm sure
we can put the link. Yeah.
Tali will share the link. Yeah,
we can do that. Yep.
So we're fundraising for the I Am Hope Foundation to raise awareness about suicide. So every day for the month of June, Te Paia is running. I'm walking because too many dance parties, bitch, please. But yeah, we're doing a great thing. If you want to get on board on Tautoko, please hit the link and call her because it's a great cause to get behind. You know, mental health is something that is not funded enough, especially for our youth. So please jump aboard on Tautoko as much as you can.
Te Paia, for the people who watch us, she was one of the most solid co-hosts for a while, but she's a busy girl.
She's a busy girl.
Focusing on her hip-hop.
Up-and-coming MMA artist. Fighter / hip-hop artist. She's an amazing singer, songwriter.
Yep. Produced by our dear friend Tipene
Hama.
Which is pretty cool. Shout out to our bro Tipene. So make sure to check Te Paia out. How does she, the last name, Seasons? Te Paia Seasons.
We're going to share your link, Kare.
Yeah, we'll do that. And she wrote an article for Coral Mind coming in June, of course.
She did.
So
we're full of talent here in Whitianga.
Thank you so much. Maddie, would you like to introduce our guest tonight?
Please. Long-time fangirl, fucking Taranaki hard. May I introduce to you MC Tali?
Yeah.
What up? Kia ora.
Kia ora. Kei te pia koe.
Oh, kei te tino.
Yeah, me too.
No mai, Tali. You're incredible.
He mea whakamiharu tēnei, thank you.
Thanks so much,
Thanks,
Tali.
guys. Thank you. Yeah, I'm super stoked to be here. I'm just excited to be out of Auckland, to be honest.
How was the flight?
It was amazing. It was really, really cool. It was quite funny because we got to the gate and I had these couple of Aussie ladies in front of me. Yep. And they're like, there's no plane. He's telling us to go back. And I was like, I'm sure there is a plane. But even I was like, where's the plane? And then this dude rolls up in a long extended golf cart and he's like, you're all getting on this. And we were like, oh. And then, they take you across the tarmac and I was like, oh shit, that's the plane.
Then you enter through the back door.
Yeah, you get on the wee plane. But the flight was amazing. It just constantly, astounds me how beautiful Aotearoa is and how many parts of it that I haven't seen. And when I do see them, I'm just like, oh God, I love this country, So to be able to come in around the top of the Coromandel, which I've never done before, and come into Whitianga, and then I was like, where's the tarmac? And then I was like, oh shit, we're landing in a field. okay, first time for everything. So yeah, really cool experience. I was messaging my husband when I landed. I was like, I've landed in a field. And he was like, even just for that, it's worth going, So,
You're like, there's mud flicking up on the windows and everything.
and they couldn't take the plane all the way to the end of the runway because it was so muddy up the end that the plane would have sunk. So, and we were slipping when we landed, like the wheels were like voo, voo, voo. And then this dude rolls up in his little van and picked us all up and took us to the terminal, I say with inverted commas in my hand.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so cool. Thank you. Great experience. Loving it so far.
So that took you back to your childhood of like skidding around paddocks and Taranaki then?
Yeah. I mean, I was like, I haven't seen green fields in so long.
So that's actually a cool thing because Grant from Barrier Air, he's really advocating for the tar sealed area for the airplanes.
I think it's essential.
Especially now that we have so many issues with the roads.
Yeah, and climate change is only going to make that worse, y'all. And I know that flying is not like the most, what's the word? Best thing for the climate.
Yeah.
But
sustainable.
Sustainable,
but it's
thank
still,
you.
Right? People have to.
But people have to get here, and there's going to be times when y'all are going to be totally landlocked and not able to get it. You're going to need a boat to get out of here or a plane.
Mate, have you heard the Talkback radio in Auckland about how we're going to be isolated?
Wow.
There's another island, and that literally is our reality at the moment.
Yeah, and when I was flying over, another thing that I noticed was how many low-lying areas are built up on the way just from between Tamaki and here, and it did concern me because I was like, a few feet of risen sea levels, whatever, that's all going to be underwater. And we need to think about that. So, yeah, it's kind of scary, especially with what's been happening on the East Coast.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so good luck, Whitianga. I hope you get your tar-sealed airport.
Thank you so much. So just before we dive deep into this conversation, I just want to say thank you to Barrier Air for supporting the Altbays Show to bring these cool guys
and
from
giving
Auckland.
me a cool experience.
There
and
you go.
They were so nice as well. And you know what? The plane's actually super comfortable. The seats are really padded. You got little seat belts. The view's amazing. Yeah, it was great.
Awesome. So check them out, barrierair.kiwi, if you want to book your flights from Whitianga to Auckland, North Shore, Great Barrier Island, Kaitaia? Kaitaia.
Is it
I think it's Kaitaia. Kaitaia.
Oh.
We have it on the screen.
Another small place.
Another small place, the Barrier Air Access. Thank you so much. Grand shout out to Barrier Air team. Also, Peninsula Motel, our dear friend Fred, another big sponsor of the show. How's the room? Is it all good? Warm. That's
Perfect. She's muckadeedy out there tonight.
Yeah, she is. One thing I would say though, to all motel and hotel owners is not everybody drinks dairy milk.
Oh, that's good.
Hashtag just saying.
So maybe something to think about in the future instead of just chucking the old milk in there, which some of us are allergic to.
There you go. I don't drink milk as well, so I will tell Fred
some
to
soy.
put some soy, some almonds. Yeah.
No, not almond. Almonds bad for the environment.
What about human breast milk?
Absolutely not.
Just putting it out there,
Thank you so much, Peninsula Motel. Make sure to bring some soy milk for our guests as well. That would be great. And Blue Ginger. Thank you so much for the beautiful Kai.
Oh my God, I rate the dumplings. The vegetarian dumplings are insane.
Yeah.
Excellent, Joe.
Top. So, yes, if you're coming to the Coromandel, make sure to check them out. They're the coolest, most beautiful restaurants. Go there for a full experience. In the Coromandel. Gotta stop at the Blue Ginger, eh?
The staff aren't too bad looking either, just saying.
Exactly. All right.
And,
so,
could you rate the gin?
how is the gin, Maddie? What are we drinking, Maddie?
Oh, ariki.
Well, we are drinking some Ariki Spirit of the Pacific Ultra Premium Gin. And honestly, te reka hoki. We're drinking gin, Ariki gin, and tonic tonight. Cannot even taste the tonic. Tali's on the Man of War.
I'm drinking Man of War from Waiheke Island,
Yeah,
not far from here. Big ups to Ness and her husband who run Man of War. Beautiful. It's actually Waiheke and the Pōnui Islands. And if you have never been to Man of War on Waiheke, I highly recommend it. It's a beautiful vineyard and
a beautiful experience.
Very
too.
nice tipple. Yum, yum, yum.
There you go.
I mean, we didn't get sponsored by that, by the way, but we should be.
But
We
you know,
will.
like
We'll
if you
go.
want to send us some free shit, we're
Hashtag
present.
ad. Hashtag gifted.
We'll get in touch with them for sure.
We can be friends.
Leave it with Leo. Leo will get in touch. All right, let me do this. Also known as New Zealand's drum and bass queen, MC Tali's ability to freestyle and sing soulful, positive, and intelligent vocals over the mix has seen her stay on top of her game. Currently preparing for an Europe tour, Tali has won numerous awards and toured the world extensively as an MC and live act. Originally from Taranaki, shout out to Taranaki.
Taranaki hardcore.
Taranaki. Tali moved to the UK to follow her dreams of becoming a top international MC. You did it, girl.
I did do it. Thank you.
After signing to the legendary Full Cycle label owned and run by Ronnie Size. Whoa, yow, eh?
Yes.
Tali
girl.
released the first ever MC album, Lyric on My Lip, with a UK top 40 single worldwide tour and selling over 15,000 albums. From there, she collaborated with some of the scene's most prolific names in production and DJ MC shows. Tali is unique in her ability to both freestyle and sing, write, and compose. She is a trained secondary school teacher, has a diploma from the National Academy of Singing and Dramatic Arts, the NASDA, BA in English Literature, also has vast experience in tutoring, mentoring, writing, and vocal producing for other artists. That's awesome. As well as this, Tali wrote for ATM Knowledge New Soul, guest list network publications in the UK and the US for Her magazine in New Zealand, and in 2018, Tali published her first ever fiction novel, The Little White House. What a pleasure. Tali, just like...
Ake, amen.
Hey, like, I know, right? And I'll tell you what, it took me so long to edit your bio because like there was so much stuff and I was just like does she sleep?
I do, but very badly.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
You do a lot of stuff. That's cool. How do you find the time management in your life? Like, is there a moment in your life that you give priority to some things, or you like to keep your creative vein always active, doing different things? How does it work for you?
I don't know. I do think that I might be slightly ADHD, and I mean this in a serious way. I do undiagnosed, but because I definitely need to constantly be doing lots of things, and I definitely display a lot of symptoms of somebody who has a really active mind, and I find it hard to stay focused on one thing, but then I get hyper focused on one thing. So I'll decide that this is what I'm going to do, and I'll get really hyper focused on it. And I'm, like I used to be one of those kids at school where it used to really annoy me when people would say, I'm going to do this, and then they would never do it. And I'd be like, you're full of shit, And I was always that kid that was like, if I said I was going to do something, I would do it. And I can remember one day I said to my friends, I'm going to walk home from school. And they were like, no, you're not. And I was like, yes, I am. And like I walked like 30, 40 minutes home from Awatuna Primary School along the Eltham Road in South Taranaki just to prove a point. And by the time I got home, I had blisters on my feet. I was pretty sure I was walking in sandals or barefoot.
Romans.
Just to prove a point. Because I will say I will do something and I always want to see it through. And so as I've gotten older, I've really learned to prioritize. Like I know in the past that I've definitely been a bit scattered in terms of I'll choose to do a bunch of shit and then I won't finish it. Or I'll choose to do a bunch of stuff and I'll do it, but I won't be 100% satisfied with the outcome. And
Absolutely.
So as I've gotten older, I've learned more to prioritize my time, to delegate when it's possible, stop being such a control freak, because I'm always like, I have to control everything. And to a certain extent, it does mean that I get the result that I want, but it also sometimes means that I get really tired and I don't have the energy and the time to do what I want. But also in the past, I think I was much more of a people pleaser, and I think I was much more inclined to say yes to everything. Now I am much more inclined to say no. And I don't even feel like I need to have a reason. Like in the past, I'd be like, no, because, and then I'd give all these big reasons.
X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
Plus
and
two,
it's like,
carry the
actually, Sorry. It's like
Also ADHD
actually,
over here.
but it's like, actually, I don't need to tell you why I can't do it. I just can't do
My
it.
word's enough.
Yeah, and I don't want to do it.
Stop, no,
I'm
no.
tired. So, yeah, so it's really just, I don't know. I don't have children. I feel like I need to leave a legacy of some sort, and leaving a legacy for me is just as much about leaving an impactful message or feeling on somebody whose life I have perhaps guided or inspired in some way, as much as it is about leaving a physical product like a song or a book.
Yeah. When was the moment that you realized that the arts was your thing? That you were like, that's me.
From the minute I was a kid, like from like a 5-year-old.
Crying tune.
You just knew that?
And all
You
that
just
thing.
knew that
I
wholeheartedly.
was just like, me and my sister dressing up in costume. We're like, we're going to be Wham. No, we're Wham's girlfriends. She's like, I've got Boy George and you've got Andrew Wrigley. And I'm like, we always get Andrew Wrigley. It's the ugly one. Not realizing that actually he would never
was-
want her anyway. You know? He
So
would never-
who was the winner anyway?
yeah, exactly. Just saying. But from those moments of like putting costumes on, dancing in front of our family, and I would always take it way more serious and way more extra than anyone else. I was always way more extra. And everyone just used to say to my mum, she's going to be a performer, she's going to be a performer. And I never not liked hearing that. So I started writing songs on the piano when I was like 9, self-taught, and then my mum sends me to piano and singing when I'm 10, and dance lessons when I'm like 8, alongside like Siobhan Druakiri, who's also from Opunaki, the famous Siobhan Druakiri. And
Another fan girl.
yeah, her and I like dancing together in Opunaki, not even
You, the
realizing,
Nicky.
you know. Just always loved performing, which is interesting because as much as I'm an extrovert on stage, I'm also kind of an introvert off stage. I'm very private. I don't like sharing things unless I feel safe. I don't remember people. I don't remember people's names or conversations because I'm too busy thinking of an escape route when I'm making small talk with them. I'm looking around the room going, how can I get out of this conversation? You know, like just things like that. So, yeah.
Did you have support from your whānau, like 100%? Were there
Yeah.
moments that they tried to take you to another direction? And they were like, nope, that's it, girl. You
No
go.
one's like,
I
you're
mean-
going to be an accountant, or we're farmers, you're going to be a farmer.
There was no chance I was ever going to be a farmer. The one time I ever went to help my brother in the cow shed, he told me to F off and get out of here because I didn't want to get my hands dirty, but that was a lie. I didn't mind getting my hands dirty. I just didn't want to hurt the cows because I am a pacifist and I love animals and I'm really empathetic and I just, you know, pulling tits is not my thing. So they were like, you bloody townie, you better do something that's townie orientated. So I was like, yes, I'm going to be in the arts. And so, yeah, I said I wanted to be in music and my mum and dad were super supportive of it and they were really supportive of it all the way up until I said I wanted to be an MC. And then they were like, what?
Did they know what it was? Like,
Not really. And they were like, there's literally nothing in New Zealand for us to use as a reference to this job that you want.
I can't relate to you right now.
No.
What are you saying?
Yeah, so they were like, okay, you could be an actor on Shortland Street or in the theatre. You could be a radio host, which is another thing that Dad really thought that I would be, or a journalist, because I've always been really good at writing, or a teacher, but a drama teacher, a music teacher, or maybe an English teacher if we're really pushing it. So there were all these kind of like jobs surrounding the creative, you know, world.
Options.
Yeah. But it was when I was like, I want to be an MC that they were like, what the hell? Why? We've sent you to uni, we sent you to drama school, we sent you to teachers college and you want to be an MC. Like, why? You know? And I get it now, but at the time I was like, don't hold me back. And you
love
don't
that.
understand. But in saying that, they were like, okay, look, you want to go to the UK and you want to be an MC, please just go to Teachers College just so that you've got something to fall back on. Not that you're not going to make it. We're sure you're going to make
just
it.
in case.
Just in case, go and get your teaching diploma because I already had a degree. So I went back to I went to Teachers College and I got a teaching degree. And you know what? hate to say it, but they were right. There's been definitely times when I have had no money and teaching has been a fantastic thing to fall back on. When I was in London and I was substitute teaching, it was shit and hell and I would never do it again. I got sent to the most awful schools in inner city London, teaching the craziest students, children, like devil children, in really rough schools. But, you know, all that shit makes you stronger, makes you tenacious.
And you paid the rent, and here you are.
Paid the rent, and then what I did realise is that actually when I came back to New Zealand and I started working for the New Zealand Music Commission as a music mentor, I'm actually really good at it. I am actually a really good teacher. I don't ever want to be in a classroom following rules, following colonial, patriarchal school systems, but let me mentor your child in music and performance and I will smash it.
Let me do my thing.
Yeah.
I want to talk about education, but what I was curious was like, oh, I want to be an MC. I want to be in this scene. How was the scene in New Zealand? Because you said there were no examples. So like, where did you get that from? Like, did you go overseas and then you've enjoyed some parties there, or you were just curious, like getting access to music? And how did you make up?
It's the same, it's the same way. Like, why is reggae so big in New Zealand? Why is reggae so big over here?
Music.
Soul music, right? And it's music of black origin, right? And we have a Pacifica and Māori population here that welcomes music of black origin, right? So it makes sense that another form of music of black origin, which is jungle, dance hall, and drum and bass, eventually drum and bass, would migrate here. Migrate here, and it would be welcomed. And not just by Māori and Pacifica people, but by white people, Pākehā people as well, because that's the kind of nation we are. Like we're small, we're a sponge, we're hungry, we look to overseas to be influenced because we always want to be keeping up with what's going on. New Zealand is a very small country, but no one ever wants to say we're backwards. So we're like, the hot new thing, I'm embracing it. We're very much like that in Aotearoa. And so jungle and drum and bass music was permeating our culture, dance music culture, as much as trance or techno or house was. And along with that comes MCs. So eventually, first of all, you're going to hear soul singers doing all their thing over house and trance. And then eventually you're going to maybe hear some dance hall reggae MCs, right? And then eventually after all that, you're going to hear drum and bass and you're going to hear an MC. So initially for me, it was, I think it was almost like it was the tapes that were getting sent over from London. So there was a radio show in London called One in the Jungle. And they had a plethora of DJs and MCs, Navigator, Moose, GQ, Dynamite. And they had all these different DJs, Brian G, Randall, Jumping Jack Frost, Ronnie Size, and they would record the shows on the BBC, and then whoever it was in London, I got told who it was, but I can't remember now, would send the tape to New Zealand, and then the tape would get passed around the scene until that shit was like because we were listening to it over and over and over again. And that's where I first heard MCs. And then we started, first of all, we had all genre raves in Aotearoa, and then eventually the scenes started becoming more genre-centric and focused. So we started having just jungle and drum and bass parties. And so with that, the DJ's coming out and they're like, I'm not coming out unless I bring my MC. And so you've got to book the MC. So the MC comes out and you see them and then you're like, I want to do that.
You're like, yeah, that's a fucking vibe. Let me get on that. Let me get on that one.
I always loved rapping and I always loved lyrics. And I was never like the pretty girl or the smart girl at school, but I was like the quick-witted, funny girl. Not the class clown. I never would make a fool of myself just for attention, but I definitely knew how to navigate situations that were maybe uncomfortable for me using wit, but also using lyrics and using my voice. And when I sang, it didn't matter if you hated me at school. No one could deny that I could sing. They'd be like, oh, yeah, that girl, she can sing, and even my worst enemies would pay me respect in that realm. So I was like, okay. And then I got into hip-hop music. I loved rapping and hip-hop music.
All right, so what was your first rap? Let's go.
Yo.
I think my sister, tell me what the trouble is. I try to listen hard and give the best of us that I could give. So, what's up with you this time? Like Dimples D? Yes. It's a shame the way you mess around with my heart. That kind of thing.
Get it, girl.
And
take it back to the 90s.
What about freaking D-Light with grooves in high? And then there's the whole rhyme in there.
It's Q-Tip who produced that, isn't it?
Did he?
I think so.
Oh, it doesn't surprise me. It's such a jam. What about De La Soul, Ring, Ring, Ring?
Oh.
Once again, it's another red jam and feeling like I can't stand it. I want to be down with the day glow. They're knocking on my door saying, hey, yo, yo. And knocking on my door saying, hey, yo, yo. I got a funky little tune with a fly banjo. You know, like that was the... Yeah, go on, Leo.
I'm ready.
That was the kind of stuff that I was
I'm
like...
not crying, you are.
But that was the kind of stuff where I was like, I know I'm good. Like I could listen to a rap, memorize it, recite it back, and then I could make up my own raps. I used to make up raps to the kids at school. But
you had rhythm, girl. You had soul.
Was that a teacher or someone who spotted that and was actually like supportive?
No,
was just your flow.
just me and my friends. And my friends were like, make up a rap about sneakers. Or we'd be at a volleyball tournament and they'd be like, make up a rap about volleyball. And I'd be like, volleyball, but let me make up a rap about you and you and you. And I'd say something and I'd freestyle and I'd have everyone cracking up. And I'd be like, I am good at this. But I didn't think, I wasn't sure I really wanted to be into hip hop, because then by the time I started thinking maybe I wanted to get into hip hop, it was quite misogynistic and it was quite a male dominated sort of industry. And I'd started to get into rave music anyway, which was very diverse and inclusive and all genres and all, didn't matter where we were from. And then I saw emceeing and I was like, so this combines rapping but with music that I really love, with a scene that's really inclusive. That's what I want to do. So that's how. Sorry, you asked me a question. I will talk for like.
That's why we're here for.
I will talk and talk and talk.
That's good. And by the way, I can see you doing. If you want to bring the mic a little bit closer to you, please do that.
That's okay.
Yes. Maddie, you go. I feel like I'm. Unless you want to cry a little bit in the corner.
Just keep going.
Why are you gonna cry?
This is gonna mix me another drink. I'm sitting in royalty. Holy fuck.
Cool. Go have a drink.
I just want to say shout out to my boys, Caden, Mason, Ashton. I showed her the photo. Youngest MC Tali fans in the world.
Gorgeous.
You heard it
Beautiful
first.
Boys.
See,
hi guys.
She said that. See, told you. Mama got you. I had an interesting ride home in the Pahi from Kura today. My 10-year-old was trying to negotiate so hard, like, please, Mama, please, can I come to the podcast tonight? And I was like, nah, bro, I'm sorry. It's not really a kid's space. And he's like, please. But I'm like your biggest fan. I was like, all right, then sing me a song then. Prove to me you're a fan. He's like, all right, then. Blazing the lyrical trail through your mind and soul. This is how I like my beats to roll. And I was like, like, are you the coolest 10-year-old in the fucking world right now? Yes, you are. Love you, Kate.
That's cute. That's super cute.
So next time we're gonna bring you for the jam night and the kids come for a jam.
Yeah, well, I had to listen to SpongeBob raps for my 7-year-old on the bus back home today.
SpongeBob's got flow.
We'll do the best we can.
Seriously? Have you heard the SpongeBob raps? I'm gonna hurt your eardrums after this. Anyways,
Tali, 10 years in the UK, was that right?
Yes. Yep.
Tell me about the first couple of months. There you go. Throwing you back there.
First couple of months was scary, man. It was like, so many things could have gone wrong, and in some respects did go wrong. Like some situations where it was like, wow, okay, that was dangerous. I could have been killed then. Just green, just real naive, super trusting. London is not a place to be green and trusting.
How old were you when you ventured to the UK?
24. And yeah, and coming from rave culture in New Zealand, which is very safe and, beautiful, and then going to a city which is, quite dangerous, very rough in parts. It was hard, and it's definitely a place where you need money, and grafting and hustling is the day-to-day. I learned to be a hustler in the UK. I learned to fight for what I want, ask for what I want. Humility will get you nowhere. You can be kind and polite, but if you're humble, you know, in New Zealand, we're always like, be humble, sit down, be humble. You know what? No one tells the All Blacks to be humble, do they?
Be humble, sit down, but in the same breath, we've got fucking massive tall poppy syndrome when try and cut you down at the knees. Like,
yeah.
Have you experienced that?
Yeah, I have, but I don't really
into it.
No, I don't really pay much attention to tall poppy syndrome because I can see exactly what it is. And tall poppy syndrome towards me hasn't really been a thing because I don't think I've ever been so big that it's really affected me. And the people that have tried to cut me down are just blatant haters and jealous because they want to be doing what I'm doing, which is where it all comes from, really. But yeah, London was scary. So basically I got over there and I had been given Ronnie Size's email address. And for those of you who don't know who Ronnie Size is, he was like one of the 4 founders of drum and bass, hugely influential.
Just casually.
Won a Mercury Music Prize, which is like the equivalent of 5 New Zealand Music Awards in one night. From the hood in Bristol, incredible musician, had a live band and still runs a highly influential record label called Full Cycle, which was what I wanted to be signed to, right? So I had ambitions that I was going to go to the UK and I was going to knock on his door and be like, "Hi, I'm Tali, sign me," with a book of songs, I don't know. But I met him in Melbourne, Australia. I had an opportunity where I got to sing in front of him. It was all very like fate, chance, luck, whatever. And then he gave me his email address. So I moved to the UK with the intention of working with him. But I got there and that stupid imposter syndrome, be humble stuff made me go.
Hate you alive?
Yeah, I was like, I can't do it. Just can't email him. So for 2 months, I didn't contact him. I was too scared. I thought that...
But you literally had his personal email.
No. And then I saw that they were coming to London to play a show and I was like, well, I'll message him and ask him if I can get some free tickets. So I was like, hey, can I get some free tickets?
Yeah. Here's my demo.
And he messaged me back and he's like, hi, you're here? You're in the UK? Oh, where have you been? Cool. Okay, come to the show. Here's some free tickets. So me and my best friend Missy, we went along. We got free tickets. We were right up the front. They saw us. They waved to us. After the show, they made a point of getting the security guards to get us, take us backstage. We went backstage and they were like, oh my God, you're here. You know, how long have you been here? And I was like, a few weeks. I'd been there like literally 2.5 months, but I just was too embarrassed to message him. So he took me on to the tour bus. They were about to leave and embark on tour, but they were having some drinks with a whole bunch of people come on the tour bus. So, you know, you go up the stairs, you go on the tour bus, you see all the like sleeper bunks and the lounge with the sound system and the kitchen, and it's like, woo, rock star kind of thing. And everyone's on there and we're all partying. And then Ronnie goes, everybody, I want to make an announcement. And we're like, oh yeah, what's the announcement? So we all quieten down. He goes, this is Tali, the girl from New Zealand that I was telling you about that I met in Australia, and she's going to MC for us. Tali, go. And I was like, what?
You were like, oh shit.
And so DJ Di started beatboxing and I started MCing and the whole bus went crazy and everyone was like, blah, 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 cha, 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 yeah, trigger fingers in the air. And
trigger fingers.
From there, it was just like, yeah, right, call us, come to Bristol, start working with us. So I did.
Amazing.
When artists, especially artists who come here, like they talk about the touring, going to places and all the exciting bits, what people don't see, what are the tricky, the challenging bits of touring, hustling, going to gigs and finding support and sleeping in vans and stuff. What are the things?
There's different aspects of it. So yeah, like touring on a bus looks really cool and glamorous, but it's actually quite tiring. Like you're sleeping in a tiny little 7-foot cell with a curtain and a wee window, and like you go to sleep in Italy and you wake up in Switzerland and you're like, pull back the curtain and be like, where are we? I remember one really cool thing though that did happen was we were driving the bus over the Swiss Alps, and we stopped. There was a petrol station like right up in the mountains, and we stopped, and Zanaya, my backing singer, and I, we woke up, everyone else was asleep. We woke up and we put our slippers on and we were in our pajamas, and it was dawn. It was maybe like 6 in the morning and the light was coming up over the Swiss Alps, and we got out and we've got a photo of us outside a petrol station in the Alps in our pajamas and
On Sunrise,
Ugg
like-
boots, holding each other like,
Like, we made it, bitch.
Yeah, like with like some Ribena and crisps in our hands. So that's the other thing is like eating healthy is really hard because you're just
Constantly
constantly
on
it's
the
like
road.
2-minute noodles on the bus and like it's really hard to be healthy. And then after every show, there's a party. So after every show, it's like, we're going to have a party in the club or we're going to have a party on a bus. I'll be like, please don't have a party on the bus. Please don't have a party on the bus.
I just want to get late.
Yeah. And so there'd always be a party. And then like I used to smoke cigarettes and like there was drugs and alcohol and lots of screaming and shouting. And then you've got to get on the bus and wake up and play a show the next day. And it's really bad for your physical health.
That must be pretty taxing, not only in your physical health, but your mental health.
Yeah, as well. Because
you've got to just be like
on it. Yeah. And the other thing is like there's other things they don't tell you about, like when you're a bit introverted and, you know, everyone wants to like you to sign autographs and take a photo and like you're walking
Touch
through
you
the
and be in
crowd
your
and
space
people are
and
trying to
breathe your
touch you. And it's like,
air.
can you imagine what it must be like to be someone like Katy Perry? Like I was just a drum and bass MC and I was so
just
overwhelmed.
a drum and bass MC.
No, but it was super overwhelming, and
Yeah.
you've got security and whatever, and you know it's hard. I mean, I loved it in so many respects, but in other respects, like nobody ever told me about how to manage my
That
physical
side.
and mental health, and therefore, as a result, it suffered quite a lot, often.
Because
Yeah.
there was a time that you took a break, right? And you make it public that you were looking after yourself. And
Well, I don't know if I made it public that I was looking after myself. I wasn't like, I'm taking a break for my mental health, because even I didn't know what was going on. Like I was having anxiety attacks. So this was after like 2.5, 3 years with Full Cycle. And then they all sort of disbanded and fell apart, like as record labels do.
Yeah.
People, you know, they fall out. And there were a lot of egos on the label and there was a lot of falling out. And Ronnie was like, so you're free now to just go and do what you want. And I was like, okay, but you guys are my family, so who do I hang out with now? And he was like, whoever you want. I was like, okay, but who do I record with now? And he's like, whoever you want. I'm like, but
what do you mean?
what does that mean?
Wow.
And so you're like this boat, right, that's been tethered to a shore for ages, and then all of a sudden the rope gets cut and you get pushed out into the water and you're
To
just
the
like,
wilderness, and you're
where am I going? And that is literally how I felt. Like I was a ship adrift, a wee boat adrift, like no idea what I was doing or where I was going. And so I really looked to my management to kind of tell me what to do. And I sort of said, oh, you know, drum and bass, there's heaps of drama in drum and bass. There's lots of fighting. And I'd broken up with my boyfriend. I didn't like the fact that people would maybe talking about me because I'm super private. So I moved from Bristol to London to get away from gossip or anything that anyone might say about me, and a whole bunch of other shit that was going down. So I was like, I'm getting out of here. And I moved to London, and my manager was like, we're going to hook you up to work with some producers. And I worked with a few different producers. I met this really great hip hop producer. His name was Adam, and he was really lovely, and we started working together, and then we kind of fell in love. Well, we didn't kind of, we fell in love.
Just a little bit.
But I fell in love like super hard, and because I was so, what's the word? Like because I felt so adrift, I definitely was like, oh, a safe space, somebody who's there for me. And I think an amalgamation of feeling adrift, not knowing who I was anymore, feeling like I'd lost my sense of purpose and direction, as well as meeting someone that I was madly in love with who was into hip hop, not really into drum and bass, and preferred me to kind of work with him. Eventually I stopped making drum and bass, but it was also to the point where I was going to go to gigs, going to get on planes, and I was having panic attacks, and I didn't know what they were. I didn't know why. I was like, why am I on the train on the way to the airport crying? Why do I feel this need that and I would call my boyfriend and I would be like, I don't want to go. And he'd be like, you don't have to go. You don't have to go. Just turn around and come home, which in one way is really good because he was supporting my
you.
needs. But when it got to the point where he was like, I was feeling good about going, he was like, I don't think you should go. I think you should just stay home with me. Or
You're like, wait, what?
I don't think you should do drum and bass anymore. Drum and bass is whack. You hate it. It makes you sad. Just do hip hop with me. I don't think you should do that anymore. You should just do it. And I'll be like, okay, because I loved him. And yeah, so it got to the point where I was very, very dependent on him for everything. I was very, weak, like constantly crying at everything. And then what happened was he dumped me. What? And he was like, you're not the girl I fell in love with. And he's right. I wasn't the girl he fell in love with, but also I was really in need of support right then, and he kind of cast me to the wind. So he was another person that I had seen as reliable, like the Full Cycle Boys, who had just kind of cut me adrift, and it really hit me hard, like as it would. You know, I was desperately in love with him, thought we were going to marry and have children, and I was just adrift again. So I was really down. I was really depressed.
Looking back, did it help to get on new relationships and look after yourself? Like, did it help having this crazy breakup? Like, there was a full-on breakup. Like, do you feel like it empowered you in a way now that you look back and you see the story?
No,
it's
I don't think it empowered me. I don't think it empowered me. Like, you know, I want to look back on it and be like, I learned so much. And I did, but also I was gaslit. I was made to feel like my feelings weren't valid. I was made to feel like I was crazy and stupid a lot of the time. He manipulated me. He was abusive in a very manipulative, kind and beautiful way, in the fact that he took away my power, and I was so enamored by him that I let him. But I also completely recognized that he was young. He was very selfish and very ambitious, and saw me as somebody that would make him a lot of money at the time. He was in love with me as well, but I think I was probably more than he could handle. I don't begrudge that of him, because he was young. You know, he was like, I was 7 years older than him. So, you know, that must have been a bit full on. But at the same time, I don't think it empowered me or made me strong in any way. In fact, it made me the weakest I've ever been. And I'm kind of glad he broke up with me in some ways, because I'm concerned as to what sort of person I would have become if I'd stayed with him, or what I would have done with my life if I'd been with him.
Do you mind if I ask how old you were?
30.
Yep.
And he was like 22 or something. Like, so different stages of our lives. So not a good time at all. But what it did do was it sent me to the lowest of the low. And when you're at the bottom of the barrel, there's not much you can do except go up. And being able to take the opportunity to go upwards on my terms was something that was new to me. So in the past, I'd always wanted to do things that I thought were right by Full Cycle, what would please other people. I was constantly people pleasing. What do they want? What do they want? You know, any minute now they're going to tell me to go back to New Zealand because I don't belong here. Any minute now they're going to say, just joking, we don't want to sign you, or, you know, whatever. I kept waiting for that moment. And now, because I had nothing, that moment could never happen. And therefore I was actually able to build my career on my terms, which was empowering. So the breakup and all that shit was not at all. That was awful. It was devastating. I would never wish that on anybody. But the process of rebuilding is incredibly powerful if you choose to see it that way, which I did.
And how did you come up with the idea to get into the mentoring vibe? Because that's comes a lot from experience, right? It's like everything that you're telling us, like it's already a lesson there, like it's already a course, you know? And then, but for you to process that and to say, you know what, I can give a lot to this upcoming artist, to these people, and teach the ropes. Like, was it something that came in a way that you were looking for something new, or it was just natural? You were like, I think I can offer a lot and support these people.
I think I've always been a really good friend in that I'm a good listener. So I will always give good advice, and I'm one of those people that gives advice but doesn't necessarily practice.
I was just going to say, you're a little bit of a hypocrite. Like you dish out the greatest advice and you're kind of that like floaty friend, but when it comes to yourself, you can't hear your own words.
Yeah, sometimes, and my friends will say that to me. They'll be like, "You said," And even my husband does it to me too. He'll be like, it's just your ego talking. You're always telling me it's just my ego talking. But I think, I've always been a good friend. I've been a good listener. But I think when I really sort of thought, oh, okay, like I'm quite good at this, was actually my friend Lauren went through a really bad breakup when she was in Canada, I think, or America, and I was in the UK, and she messaged me. She was not having a good time. She was very, very down. And she messaged me, and I started basically counselling her. And we would talk every night for like a week, for ages, and I would constantly be giving her the same advice that I practiced within myself, gratitude, affirmations, focusing on small things, physical exercise, breathing, yoga, like all of the things that I was practicing, I was advising her to do. And, living in the moment, blah, 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 all this stuff. And I remember she said to me, you have actually changed my life. You've changed my life, and you've taught me so much about this, I helped her through a really terrible time. And that's when I was like, I'm actually quite good at this. I'm quite good at this mentoring. So I wonder if I could combine those positives and strengths with the ability to guide someone through the music industry based on experience that I've had. Because the thing is as well, is like I never had anybody to tell me or guide me or say to me, maybe don't do it like this. I had the boys from the record label, Ronnie and all those guys were like, you shouldn't do that and you shouldn't do that. But I'm sorry, their experiences, their lived experiences were valid, but they were completely different to mine.
So you didn't have any female kind of mentors or anyone to aspire to follow in their footsteps?
No, and the females that were in the industry were very closed and very snobby and kind of rude and didn't really want to reach out to me ever. And that's why the other thing that I made a decision of was I remember this young singer came through. Her name was Rhea. She wrote this beautiful song called Open Book with DJ Lensman. We're in this thing together. And I remember hearing it and being like, oh my God, she's amazing. And I messaged her. But rather than just be like, oh my God, your song's amazing, I was like, welcome to the drum and bass scene. My name's Tali. I think you're amazing. If you ever need anyone to talk to, I'm here for you because it's kind of a lonely industry. And she was like, oh my God, I'm a massive fan. And thank you so much. You're the first person to reach out to me and say that to me. And I was like, okay. 1, that feels really nice for me. 2, she feels really good. 3, there's something in this. And so then I was like, okay.
This is a thing.
I need to be more engaged with other women. So like Jenna G, Deism, like people would try and compare us and make us compete against each other. And we were all just like, nah, we're going to be friends. Yeah.
We're just owning the scene.
We're like, fuck all y'all. We're going to be nice to each other. And so there was something to really be said for creating this sort of sisterhood, because there were definitely women in drum and bass that were not kind to me and were not nice to me and still want to talk shit about me to this day. I was like, babes, get over yourself. It's been 20 years.
Haters gonna hate, potatoes gonna potato.
Right? Tomatoes gonna tomate.
Just saying.
So I realised that there is a real strength and a niche space for someone like me who, 1, is a good listener, gives good advice, 2, has teaching experience, 3's got loads of experience of being in the industry, and 4, wants to see their sisters do well and has no qualms about uplifting other wahine in the industry. So with my powers combined, I became Tali the mentor. Yes! Thanks, T.
Who is under your umbrella at the moment? Who are you giving some support? Let's give us some shout outs.
Oh, come on now. You so...
If you can say, obviously.
Ellipsa.
Let's
touch on that for a fraction of a second. Like, let's.
She's a piece of work, that one. She's a goddess, that girl.
So she's quite young, isn't she?
She's not that young. She's 28.
Oh yeah,
she's 28. She is freaking incredible. She's an amazing talent. She's a beautiful, beautiful person. She reminds me a lot of myself at that age, times 10. Super ambitious, really hungry, very self-confident.
Beautiful.
Amazing performer. She's stunning. Incredible voice. I mean, I wasn't stunning like her, but she is stunning. And all those things, when someone told me about her and they were like, there's this amazing talent coming through, her name's Ellipsa, but it was actually our friend Gray, and he was like, lots of people, you know, are talking about her and potentially want to guide her, and I think she needs a female guide. And I was like, bro, okay, cool, bro, thanks. I'll meet her. So I messaged her and I was like, well, she messaged me and I was like, yeah, come around. So she came around, and the minute she walked in my door, I was like, love her. She's great. We just had this instant connection, like sisterhood, kinship, whatever, spiritual soulmate-ish kind of thing. And I was like, I want to protect her. I just want to protect her. I don't want her to go through anything that I've had to go through, and I want to teach her everything that I know. And so over the last 3 years, that's what I've done. I've managed her, but now she is a beast beyond my control because she's going to be huge. Like, just watch the space. She's going to be massive.
I've personal drum and bass fan. I've watched a lot of your guys' gigs and live streams and your YouTube content, etc., etc. And I love the content that you guys have created together, and like the lyricism, like it's beautiful. You're talking about like spirituality and being in touch with yourself and consciousness, and it's just like, thank God, whoever your God, a la Buddhism fucking artiki is, it's so refreshing to hear women speaking their truth. And just owning it.
Well, that's why we did that tune Divine together, because we were like, we'd done a tune for my album Crystal Clear, and that wasn't so much a co-write. It was more like I'd written this song, I wanted Molly, that's her name, Molly, I wanted her to sing on it, and it wasn't really her style of singing, but she did it for me. And yeah, she's not like writing heaps on it. It's just like a hook that I've written that she's singing. But then Molly was like, we should actually write a song together. And her and her partner Tom from Lee Matthews, big up Lee Matthews, sent me this really amazing tune, and Molly was like, oh, something about, I don't know, divine feminine or whatever. So I was like, define this energy, boom, boom, boom,
sacred
chemistry.
Chemistry. Yeah, I know the words. It's pretty hard.
Yeah, and then Molly's like tells her story about how she was this young girl who really wanted to succeed, but she buried her dreams until she says, all it took was for one soul to see me, get a glimpse of the divine energy. And she's talking about me, I guess. Pulled out like a diamond in the rough. Here she comes, her name's Ellipsa. And I love that, because when I did Blazing, I said my name, Tali coming in to bust up the mics. That's really poignant that she's like, here she comes, her name's Ellipsa. And then I do my bit, there is power in the feminine, about.
Like, honestly, when I heard that track for the first time, Divine, what is it called?
Divine.
It is Divine. Yeah, so like when I heard that for the first time, because like my boys are big fans, yours, like, way back in the day when I was cool and stuff. So I know your old stuff and that, but I was just like, wow, this is like history repeating itself, but it's like the next generation.
Yeah. And that's why I said to her, I've got this idea for a music video. And she's like, what? And I was like, I want to get as many women in electronic music, DJs, producers and vocalists all in one room, and get us all looking beautiful. And it's not going to be for everyone.
But that's not even going to be hard. Like, you guys just need to like be in the same shitty shed and just like glowing.
It was so beautiful. We had this amazing director called Gail Hockman, and her and her team put together this vision. It was different to my vision. I was like lots of jewel colours and like leopards and like velvet, and she was like, we're going to do more like muted and pastels. And I was like, it's not my vision. But when she showed me the boards, I was like, this is amazing. Also, it's not my video, so who the hell am I to say? Molly was into it. Ellipsa was into it. But, it was my idea. I had this idea. But Molly was like, look, trust Gal. She knows what she's doing. I think it's good. And I was like, yeah, I've got to stop being so controlling and trust this. And I was like, but I want an all-female team. And Molly's like, yes, let's do it. So we had an all-female crew, bar a couple of guys doing some heavy lifting. Everyone else on set were women.
Beautiful.
We had representatives of the LGBTQI community. We had women of colour on set. We had some women who didn't want to be a part of the video because they didn't perhaps necessarily feel like they fitted with the aesthetic, or it wasn't really their brand, but they still sent messages of support.
They were there to talk.
Yeah, they definitely.
And whatever element that they could.
For sure. Like, I love you and I love Molly and I love the concept, but it's not for me. But go do it. I think it's amazing, you know? And it was definitely about showing all generations. So there's like, I'm probably the oldest on set. And then there's some other women who are more kind of near my age group. And then we go right down to like, I think maybe 19 was the youngest DJ we had on set. Yeah.
There's something empowering about being in the presence of other women though, isn't there?
Hard out. And all of us on that day, so many of those women kept coming up to me and going, this is so special, Tali, this is so special. And sent messages to Molly and I afterwards like, thank you so much for creating this space. I met DJs I didn't even know were part of our scene. Because it wasn't just drum and bass. We had women from pop, techno, house, down-tempo.
You just round them all up like
dubstep.
Little whānau kōtahitanga moment.
Yep.
And
come on man. And let's show all these male promoters that there's a diverse selection of us out here to choose from when it comes to making your lineup.
Tali, is it still hard to crack into that scene? Is it still male orientated? And do you still feel like 2023 we're still having to fight those battles? Or it's getting better?
I mean, it's definitely getting better. It's not so hard anymore, but it is. There's still so much bullshit we have to put up. There's still so many stories that we hear. I mean, there's like a prominent promoter who's like, I can't name him right now because he's got name suppression, but he's in court right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Burn, baby, burn. TikTok, motherfucker. You know, and like, really, are we still having to like deal with this shit in 2023?
Yes, we are.
You know, and those are the things that are disappointing for me because I've been talking about this for years. You can go back and look at interviews with me from 2006, 2003. I'm saying the same thing. Lack of diversity, lack of inclusivity, lack of safe spaces. What is wrong with this industry, you know, that we cannot catch a break?
Tēnā koe.
But we are definitely moving forward. We're progressing and there's definitely changes being made where promoters are realising that if they are not reading the room and keeping up, that they will be called out or they will be left behind or they will be sent to jail.
Hey.
I love this shit. I think I was lucky that I was raised by a beautiful mother and father, but like that feminine figure was always very present and appreciated at my place
Y'all are
with my
taught to
sister.
respect your matriarch though, aren't you? In Brazilian society?
It's beautiful. We have this very strong bonds, and because it's not the easiest to just leave home, so we stay home for longer, you know, so the connections are very strong. But like, I was going to a different place. I was thinking, for me, it makes a lot of sense and it makes my life easier when I see women empowered, like feeling great about themselves. I'm like, wow, then society is progressing, you know, like it makes men's lives easier, you know, like we're sharing a lot of responsibilities and we're doing things together. And I keep wondering, of course, the like people who talk loud sometimes are a bit desperate, but like this push for the macho thing and the whole masculine thing, like I won't say that it's going backwards, but like I wonder why. Like, is
because
is
men
it
feel
insecure?
threatened. Men feel threatened.
It is, isn't
they feel
it?
scared. I mean, listen.
Isn't it easier to just twist that and see as a positive thing to walk together?
This is nothing new, bro. This has been happening for years. Like, if you look back at like Egyptian culture, if you look back at like
millennia
cave woman cultures, like woman, the matriarch was respected. We were queens, we were goddesses, we were exalted, and then somebody got jealous and couldn't deal with it. And
not naming any names, but stale male pal.
Well, no, they weren't all stale male pal because they were in Egypt, they were in North Africa, they were in Scandinavia. Women have been exalted and oppressed. And just when you think you look at a society, like if you look at history and you look at a society where women have made progress, there's always something that happens, some sort of war or some sultan or some king comes in and says, no, can't deal with it, my fragile masculinity. Let's put them all behind a concrete wall and pour tar over them. Or
witches, damn you.
Witches, let's burn them because they're smarter than us and they're healing people and they're doing things that create unification instead of division. I don't know what it is about the male psyche, but there is something in the woman's psyche which prefers unification and love and peace. And that's not to say we don't fight, we're not warriors and we're not strong, but I I don't know what it is. I want to say that we are not built differently, but we're obviously built differently, because every time I feel like women are making progress, like what the hell is going on with the National Party right now? Like talking about making us pay for birth control. Like, no, Christopher Luxon, you don't have to be Donald Trump to be liked.
How disconnected are you?
How disconnected? Like, anyway, that's a whole nother freaking podcast. But what I'm saying is, like, we need our brothers, we need men in society to say the same thing that you've just said, that actually it's better for our society when women are uplifted, when women are given positions of power, when women are treated with equality, there's no pay disparity, all that. That actually creates a more unified society. And why are we afraid of a unified society? It's that typical old saying, when your privilege is threatened, you suddenly think it's oppression. It's the same with minority cultures. We see it with Māori culture here in New Zealand. Oh, the Māori are getting everything, and that means that I'm oppressed. No, motherfucker. It means we're trying to create equal footing for people who have been oppressed for so long. And it's all it will do. Giving them a leg up doesn't mean that you'll be oppressed or you'll lose out. Giving them a leg up means that we will all go forward together on the same freaking rung.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Drop the mic.
Hey.
Thank you very much, ladies and
Moody
gentlemen.
Right, cheers, you on
Tali,
that.
is it? Yeah, that deserves
Sorry,
it.
and
That
and can
deserves
you
it.
see when I look down and I can't look at you because my train of thought is when I'm
You're on
hyper
that tunnel
focused.
vision.
I
Please
gotta be
keep looking down.
hyper-focused.
Please keep looking here. Focus on these points here at the table. Tali, where do we start? Educational system, politics, getting people to vote, getting people to... Because, like, everything has changed, but if you look at education, like 150 years ago, 100 years ago, it was still the same system, sitting down, facing position of power, teacher, teacher knows it all. Where are, in your view, you got such a strong views on that, where should we be targeting mainly and firstly? Little ones, old ones, all of us together.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I have all these like very strong opinions and thoughts, but I don't really know what the solution is. I think, far out, I don't know. Like high school, I think for one, we should lower the age of voting to 16.
Say that again, say that
Yeah.
again, say that again.
I think we
say that
should
again.
lower the voting age to 16. Do you guys think so too?
100%.
Yeah, because
They're our future.
they are our future, and why are we disregarding them and their opinions? As an educator, as someone who works in schools and as a mentor, it really grinds my gears when I hear people say things like, this generation, they don't care about anything but TikTok and their phones.
And they don't want to
da-da-da.
work and they don't know how to do this and that.
And for sure, a big part, yes, they don't. But also, if you really go deep, a big part of the way that they act and they respond to what's going on in our society is a result of the world that we have created for them.
Yep.
We have created a world that is disillusioned, that has increasing amounts of climate change, poverty. What do you think they're going to do? Some of them are going to be protesting in the streets and others are going to be like, fuck this, I am tuning out. It's no different to the 70s when the threat of war was imminent, when people were being sent to Vietnam, all that kind of thing. There was a massive amount of people who were protesting. There was a massive amount of people who were fighting, and there was other people who were like, I ain't doing anything. I'm taking drugs and getting as wasted as I can. It's no different. So we have to be sympathetic to them and think more about creating an education or a society that is more, I don't know, like accepting, understanding, open to them maybe, and targeting our rangatahi and our youth of around that 14, 15, 16 age and upwards, and asking them what they want us to do. What do you think we should do?
I don't know what your experiences were like as a rangatahi 14, 15, 16-year-old, but for myself as a white identifying Māori girl growing up in the fucking North Shore. Sorry, I'm going to swear a lot as I do. Sorry. But, like at that age, there was like this expectation to know who you were as a woman in Aotearoa and where you were going in life. But there were no role models and mentors. Like Where did you go to school? Like, you're a Taranaki girl, obviously. Like, did you venture out of Taranaki and did you have mentors or like?
I mean, I was very lucky that my parents sent me to singing and piano lessons in Hawera. So every Wednesday after school, my mum would drive 25 minutes to Hawera and take me to see this incredible singing teacher called Julie Cudby. Big ups, Mrs. Cudby. To this day, she taught me how to be a graceful loser and a gracious winner.
Did you say graceful loser?
Yeah. So
beautiful.
I'd be like, and she'd be like, don't you pull that face. You go over there and you say congratulations and you shake her hand and you smile at her and you come back like you are not bothered. I'll be like, and she'd be like, you go and you do it now. I'd be like, okay. And so, you know, be gracious, be graceful and gracious. And also, when you win, don't be smug. Be humble about it as well, you know. But, you know, when you get behind the doors, yeah, blah, blah.
There's a moment for celebration.
So sure, but then also my mum sent me to a drama school for the holidays. I think it was like a week in the Hawke's Bay.
Hawke's Bay.
We got, oh my God. So I had to take this bus from Hawera. And my mum was late. We were late. We got there. The bus was pulling away. And it was driving off to the Hawke's Bay without me on it. And I've been accepted to this like big time drama school. I must have been like 15, 16. My mum was in her pajamas still. Or like, no, she wasn't in pajamas, but she was like in a tracksuit and slippers, thinking she was going to drop me at the bus and drive home. She had to go round to her friend's house and be like, can I beg some money? She was like, I ain't got my wallet. Can I borrow some money? I need to put petrol in my car so I can chase down the bus.
We're going to the next stop,
which was
I've got to get her on the bus.
Bulls.
Oh, shit, girl, that's a venture.
Yeah, so we drove through Whanganui all the way down to Bulls. So it was a 2-hour drive, and my mum caught up with the bus.
Wait, what kind of a car did you have as a kid?
A Ford Laser.
Was it like a little hatchet?
Yeah, a little hatchet. Yes. Little blue Ford Laser. My mum drove me all the way to Bulls to catch the bus, to get me on this freaking bus, and then off I went. So then I went off to Hawke's Bay. And the teachers, my teacher for my specific home group, which was musical theatre, was Jennifer Ward-Leland. Jennifer Ward-Leland.
I know that name.
Yeah, she's a white woman, blonde white woman, an incredible theatre actor, but also fluent in Te Reo Māori, and has she's a legend. She's an absolute legend. She's done heaps of cool theatre stuff. So she was one of my tutors. Bruno Lawrence, R.I.P., like a prestigious, probably, you know, you don't know who Bruno Lawrence is. There'll be people out there who'll be like, Maddie, you need to know Bruno Lawrence. Bruno Lawrence, Crash Palace.
Yes.
I can't think of other amazing films. I'm like, text in and tell me, but I don't know if this is live. But anyway, Bruno Lawrence, incredible film legend. So he was doing the film class. So we had all these amazing tutors. Jennifer she must have only been like maybe 35. And as a tutor, she was incredibly influential for me. She was strong. She was articulate. She was beautiful. She was poised. She was talented. And she believed in me, and she said to me, she gave me a really good role in the performance, because we had to do like a performance at the end of the week. She was like, you have so much potential, you could do really, really well. She's like, you've got a really great voice. And I was like, wow, somebody who's not my singing teacher and not my mother has said this to me. And that's when I was like,
that counted for you, eh?
Okay, yeah. So those were my first two sort of female role models, but also my mum, hard out.
Biggest supporter, biggest fan?
My mum is also an incredibly talented artist from Taranaki. She's an amazing painter and very underrated. And she is a huge influence for me because of all the things that she's been through and all the things that she's done. She's 75, and that woman is preparing for her, like, I want to say like her 54th exhibition in a month.
Just casually.
Like, she's insane.
Whereabouts? Let's put in the plug for Mumsies.
Taranaki, in New Plymouth at... oh, mummy, I'm sorry. I can't think of the name of
mama.
What the place is. But anyway, Margaret Scott is having an exhibition in July. It will come to me at this really awesome gallery. Dover Street Gallery. There we go. In New Plymouth, in Taranaki. Please look it up. She's awesome. My mum's insane. She's amazing.
Shout out to mum. That deserves a big shout out.
Surrealism and realism. She paints Mount Taranaki, she paints cows, she paints kete with power shells falling out into the ocean, she paints abstracts, she does amazing big flowers. She's freaking amazing.
Amazing.
I'll show you after.
Beautiful.
Tali, what about the connection with Maori culture? Is it something that came from home, or you developed more curiosity as years went by, leaving the country, coming back? How did that flourish?
Well, I grew up in Awatuna. I went to Opanaki High School, which is quite strong in tikanga Māori. We did lots of like hikois to local marae, and we learned the ways of the Mary.
Isn't it so bizarre that like you and I were like having recorded it earlier about us being from small town New Zealand, what have you, but it's like I feel like in the last kind of 15 years we kind of lost a little bit of our way.
Sorry, we gotta do that.
Hey,
we gotta do it.
Mumsies, Margaret Scott, New Plymouth. Oh wow, she's
look at
good.
That one. Whoa, Mom.
The one up there at the top. Yeah, look at that one.
Look at Mumsies go.
Yeah, there's Mount Taranaki. Isn't she good? And she also wrote a book. She wrote a book called Self-Portrait of a Pawa.
Oh, yeah.
See that book there? There.
Yeah.
That's my mum's book.
Beautiful
She wrote
cover.
a book.
Speaking of books, you're also a published
Author.
aren't you?
Yes. But to answer your question.
Yeah, you were going to go back to the book for sure. Definitely.
Oh, look at my mum. Isn't she gorgeous? She's so gorgeous. Māori culture is something that I have always respected, but probably more so when I left and went to the UK.
Thanks, Taylor.
Because when I went to Opanaki High School, it's like I was still a Pākehā and wasn't really invited into
The circle.
the circle. And I had white friends who were in the kapahaka group who were like, nah, never made to feel accepted, and loved singing in te reo Māori and loved action song, and but never were always made to feel like, no, you don't belong kind of thing. And I don't think doesn't really exist anymore. I think now it's very much like, I think my Māori friends are like, if you want to know about the culture, fucking haere mai, like come on in and what can I tell you? What can I teach you? What do you want to know? Let's get involved. Right. So I think back in the day, there was probably an understandable wariness of Pākehā who were interested in tikanga Māori, because a lot of it, there was so much, it was so racist right back then, right? And like, so why would you not be wary? And I remember even like people I knew were like, oh, they're so radical. They're radical Marys. And now I'm like, no, they weren't radical. They were just
standing up for their rights
and instilled in their culture, culture, and also just trying to make a difference, right? So, and yet that was considered radical. Like now people would say I'm a radical feminist, but I'm not. I'm just literally trying to stand up for women's rights. All women's rights, by the way. That includes my trans sisters.
Kia ora.
So when I went away to the UK, I missed New Zealand. Before I left, I found New Zealand scary. It was on the edge of the world. As a child who often had very dark moments and didn't know that I had this slight little like black dog in my head, aka depression, that would manifest in different ways. I used to feel quite isolated, like New Zealand was on the edge of the world. I would go into the mountains. I would feel afraid. I would feel like the mountains were going to swallow me up. Absolutely. I would go swimming in the sea and I would feel afraid. As much as I loved surfing, I also felt very fearful of the ocean. New Zealand felt very wild. But then when I went to the UK, I longed for the UK. I longed to go to London. I was like, I just want to be surrounded by people. I want concrete around me. I want a different kind of culture, And when I went there, I loved it. It was great. But after a while, your tūranga waiwai is calling you home. And I was longing for those isolated snow-capped mountains. I wanted to stand on a beach and see nobody. I wanted to hear a karanga. I wanted to hear somebody speaking in Māori. I just wanted something home. Yeah. And it's in you and you can't deny that. And yeah, and then when I came back, I have like my best friends are like Māori. Tiki, Aroha. They're both Māori. And, you know...
Also fans, so, you know, if you want to have another corridor, we're available. Just saying.
Yeah, and you can't help but be invested in the culture. And now it's different. Now it's much more like, you know, there's no percentage of Māori. If you're Māori, you're Māori. You can still look Pākehā, but you're Māori. You're more welcome to know about, you know, our culture like I'm Māori, but you know what I mean.
Changes in the curriculum, everything, like it's beautiful to see.
Everything, and even being a teacher, like I remember I was teaching at Sylvia Park School, and I remember the day that my kids found out.
Wait, that you weren't Māori?
Yeah. Yeah. They all thought that I was Māori because of my pronunciation and my understanding and my effort.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the girls goes, "But miss, you have the Māori way." And I was like, "I don't know what to tell you." And then and my other friend was like, "Oh, it's what is it? Kaitiakitanga?"
Kaitiakitanga.
Kaitiakitanga. And she was like, "That's what you have in you. It's like that want to." Is it kaitiakitanga? Was it manakitanga?
Kotahitanga?
Well, the want and the need to understand the culture and to accept it. What is that, Mads? What is that?
Manakitanga?
Manakitanga. Yeah, it was that. But also kaitiakitanga.
You've got an understanding, you have a respect for it, you're instilling as much matauranga that you have instilled in yourself. You're sharing.
What I know and what I don't know, I don't claim to know.
Exactly.
I ask questions.
Kia ora mea hau hoki.
Kia ora. So,
But you're sharing what you do know, and there's no prejudice or anything against that. You are just sharing your matauranga.
Yeah. And I just
and that should be enough.
I just have a deep respect for a country and a culture that is so beautiful and unique and doesn't exist anywhere else in the world.
And guess what? You stem from this whenua too.
Yes, exactly. It makes me very proud to be from Aotearoa.
For us, it's a big thing to bring so many Maori people, because I like to remind them that, of course, there's a fight going on. But if you have a look around the world, not many countries have this strong indigenous presence, which is a shame, which is very sad.
So people are like, you don't speak Maori anywhere else. And it's like, you don't speak Welsh anywhere outside of Wales. But Wales is a country, right? It's a Pākehā country where their language was oppressed by colonialism, by English colonialism. And people were told not to speak Welsh. And they're a white culture, and they had their own language and culture oppressed. And yet now there's this massive reclamation to speak this beautiful language, very difficult language, might add. But Welsh isn't spoken anywhere else. But yet how beautiful.
But like all of us in this room are educators on some spectrum. How is being bilingual child or bilingual person
detrimental? Yeah.
How is it detrimental to your being and your mindset?
I'm jealous of both of you, because you can speak Māori and English, maybe something else I don't even know, and you can speak Portuguese and English and maybe something else I don't even know. I can speak English. Boring.
New Zealand English too, not even like real England.
I can if you want me to.
I'm not even going to come back with a smart reply.
But it is racism, right? It's pretty clear that it sits there in the realm. Like it's sad because it's empowering. Yeah,
it's fair.
Well.
It is fair, fair mongering.
I mean, I'm sorry, but like, it's so interesting how someone will be like, "Speak English," but no one will say that to an aristocratic French woman who also knows Italian and Swiss German. Like,
I'm like, excuse me, it's not camembert. If you can pronounce camembert.
Camembert.
Moe.
What's Moet?
Australian.
It's actually Moet. Yeah.
You know, like, what the fuck is the difference between saying whitianga? Is it that hard?
It's not. Like, it's blatant, ignorant and disregard, because it comes from a place of superiority, wanting to feel superior.
You mentioned Christopher Luxon and National Party earlier, and it's like, oh no, this bilingual signage that's going to happen, and what a waste of taxpayers' money. And it's like, oh dear, you poor soul, you're going to get so lost when you go to turn left to Whakatane or right to Tauranga.
Yeah, while you're eating your lasagna and, you know, dancing at the discotheque. And all these other foreign words, you know, like, I don't know.
At the cafe.
Yeah, at the cafe. Drinking your latte.
Great. Tali, you speak very fondly of Tiki. Tiki Tane.
Tiki Tane.
Tell us some stories. Share some cool
stories.
Yeah, some stories that you can. So you're very connected, definitely, right? So you told us a little bit before the show, and feels like there's a very strong.
Oh, he's definitely my best male friend, without a doubt. We're born a day apart, a year apart.
No way.
Yeah, he's the 17th. I'm the 18th of December. We're both Sergis.
I'm 17th of December.
Yo.
Same day as Tiki Tane.
Do you know what? I actually had the biggest crush on him my entire life.
Ew, really?
Right? Okay. So my dad's very eclectic. He got me into like Salmon Knobs up when I was like 9 or something, right? And I was just like to me, he's like the epitome of like handsome, mouldy fella. You know,
True.
coming into puberty or whatever.
How do you feel about Sam Walker then? No?
Not my vibe. Oh, I'm a bit older. You know, I'm like 25 years old.
He is
now,
beautiful.
So I'm working down here at Salt at the Footy Hotel, I don't know, 15 so years ago. And it was back in the day of Coro Gold. Actually, I think you guys were doing that set that year. And anyways, I'm like, oh my God, Tiki's staying here. Like, and then I check you guys all in, and I'm like, oh shit.
He's like 5 foot.
5 foot nothing. Sorry, bro. Sorry, love you and your talent, but I was like,
No, he's not coming anymore, Maddie.
You know, like all the hot guys are short. Like heaps of I don't think Tiki's
Tall girl
hot.
problems,
Tiki
you know,
Tiki is beautiful, but like I've always seen him as my brother. I've never seen him as attractive to me, but he is beautiful, and I get why people think he is gorgeous. He's got an amazing energy
he's got a
about
beautiful
him.
widower.
Yeah, he does, and he's lovely looking, but he is short.
Sorry, my G.
But so many famous people are short. Do you know what? I remember eating in a Thai restaurant in LA, and Usher walked in. And I was like, my friends were like, yo, it's Usher. And I was like, yo, it's not Usher. And they were like, yeah, it is. I was like, he's tiny.
Damn, let it burn.
I was like, he's tiny. They were like, yeah, he's tiny. He was my height. He must have been like 5'5" or something, or maybe 5'6" at a push.
Wow.
Like Tom Cruise, like all the really famous people.
But like Jason Momoa, who was here on Saturday when I was unfortunately in Auckland, and my whole plane went down the fucking wharepaku. Yeah, he was.
He was, yeah.
He's freaking gorgeous, eh?
So he's not 5 foot nothing, no way.
No.
Jason Momoa, how tall are you? Give me a holler. Altbays.
I also really like a lot of NBA basketball players, and that's my husband's fault because he plays
people.
He plays people, and he has NBA on all day, and I'm like, well, what's his name? Jason Tatum.
Oh.
He was looking at you, son. No, I mean, he looks about 20. To be fair, I could be his mum, but he's beautiful. He's real nice. No, you don't think.
No, I was just thinking you're not old enough to be. You don't look like his mum. Like you look
I could
fucking
totally
incredible.
be his mother.
Well, maybe
if I'd had him at 18, 100%. Yeah. Yeah.
But you look amazing for your age, girl.
But what is looking amazing for your age? Let's talk about that.
Yes, right. So
what is looking? I mean, I am in my 40s. Let's not disclose where, but I'm in my 40s.
Yeah, I'm in my late 30s.
But
I feel like I look better now than I did in my 20s.
100%. 100%. I also agree. I mean, I think I look strong now. I was skinny back then.
Do you think that it's like changing culture in society? Like suddenly it's not cool to be skinny mini?
No, I think it's turning 40 and middle-aged spread. You hit 40, girl, trust me. Things go sideways.
Yeah.
So you got to work a little harder.
Yeah.
But I'm also a vegetarian. I've been a vegetarian since I was 21.
You were saying.
I'm not a massive drinker. I've never been a huge smoker. I'm pretty chill with things like drugs. I look after myself.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't think there was very much of a focus like 15 years ago. Like my oldest daughter is 18 now. She's dead set against So like for the last 4 or 5 years, I've been like, oh, would you like a glass of wine or a gin? Or
like,
no, not much vibe.
Yeah, good, eh? Because did you see the statistics? That something like, T, what are the statistics? It was something like 60 or 70% of people of young people used to drink, and now it's down to like 40% or something. How awesome!
That's
is
incredible.
that?
It is changing. Yeah.
I love
like,
it.
Like there's not necessarily a binge drinking culture anymore.
It's just not deemed as cool. It's just
Or smoking.
Even
on vapes.
Yeah, but vape, we got to get rid of the vaping. The vaping.
It was kind of a...
Got to get rid of the vaping.
Tali, but it's a scene that you were part of and you still are, that it's so connected to the party drugs and all that stuff. Was it challenging for you?
You must have seen some stuff and experienced.
Challenging in what way?
Well,
you overindulged.
how you share how much you want to, but like, was that a time that you had your fun and then you realized that it was no? There you go. We got some stats there for you before we
look,
go
the
there.
prevalence of weekly drinking declined from 17.8% in 2007 to 8.3% in 2012. The prevalence of binge drinking was 34% in 2007, declining to 23% in 2012. In 2019, the Rangatahi Youth Survey found the prevalence of binge drinking continued to decline from 2007 to 2019. And actually, those rates have changed even more
Again.
in the last year. So how good is that? Drugs. Okay. Well, did I find it challenging?
because like everything that you said since you started like shows how professional you are. And
I've been unprofessional, trust me.
You would have dabbled.
We have we all have, but like,
I've
did you
been
make sense that it
more
would-
unprofessional with alcohol.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Alcohol has been more of a hindrance for me than drugs have ever been. Let's just put it that way. Going on stage drunk,
So much more easily accessible and
acceptable,
and
yet
accessible.
terrible results.
the worst.
I've seen videos of myself where I'm like, I had one wine too many. Girl. Woo.
Pimp juice.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that I used to smoke weed. I don't smoke weed anymore. Can't do it anymore. I used to smoke weed. Two-toke Tali used to call me.
Two-toke.
Two-toke Tali. I'd go on stage and I'd have two tokes. I'd go on stage and I felt like it opened up my consciousness because I'm a conscious freestyler, so I rap whatever comes to my mind, and I used to think that the weed helped me with that. And then I started having these sort of paranoid episodes. Just wasn't agreeing with me anymore. So I just quit. Just was like, can't do that anymore. So I was like, oh, what do I do now? What do I do now? So I definitely tried some other things. That doesn't, I don't really want to say, but because I'm not encouraging anyone to do drugs at all. Psychedelics, on the other hand. But
we bring this topic a lot here because we want to focus on the power of it and the health professionals that are tapping into it.
So other drugs I've tried to do on the mic because I thought that would help. No, that you just end up saying the same shit over and over again. So then I was like, oh, I'll have some drinks. Well, no, you can't drink. So I've had to learn. Slurring and singing out of tune.
Yeah.
So I've had to learn to not do anything. And that's been the challenge.
And bring your A game.
Yeah. So I'll have one glass of wine, 2 at the most before I go on stage. Very small ones, not a full glass, by the way. We're talking quarter. More as a confidence boost, adrenaline rush than anything. But I will not drink again until towards the end of my set. I'll say to the promoter, towards the end of my set, bring me on a rum and a ginger beer. Just gets the sugar, gets me going again. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Finish on a high. Boom.
Yeah. But definitely this tour I'm doing with Ellipsa, I have got coming up, I've got a 10-date tour of UK and Europe, and I'm like, no freaking drinking before I go on stage, because not only am I singing, guys, but I also have to DJ.
Yeah.
I've got to go behind the decks and do a couple of, and I'm not a DJ. I don't know how to DJ. I've literally just been taught by Molly to do these 2 transitions, and I'm packing myself. I'm so nervous.
Your homie Tiki could probably help you with something.
What? But no, my husband's a DJ. If anyone can help me, he could.
Go.
No, but it's not even that.
It's just different. Hey?
These are transitions that Molly and I have worked out, so no one can help me except her.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's exciting. Tell us more about your tour with Ellipsa. You're going 10 tour dates in the UK
and Europe.
Yep.
So I'm actually only doing Bristol and London in the UK.
Your old stomping grounds.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I've got 3 shows in Bristol. I'm doing a Friday and a Saturday night on the 14th and 15th of... No, hang on. Let me just double check this for you, people.
I check my
So,
schedule.
just looking at my schedule. So, I will be in Bristol on the 16th and 17th of June. And then on the 18th, I'm in London playing the Colour Factory with Ellipsa. And then I'm going to Berlin for 3 days to relax.
Fine.
Then I'm playing Prague on the 23rd, Dresden on the 24th. Then I go back to Berlin because it's my favourite city. And then I'm going to Leiden in the Netherlands on the 1st. And then I'm in Croatia for a week playing Hospitality on the Beach, which is a huge drum and bass festival. I'm doing a set with Ellipsa, a set with Harriet Jackson, and a set with Galaxy.
Stop it.
And then I have 5 days off where I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe going to Albania. I don't know. Hanging out in
Albania.
Dubrovnik. I'm not sure. Croatia. And then I've got my last show on the 15th of July in Bristol, V Recordings 30-year birthday. So.
Fuck, that sounds so shit. Like, I reckon you should just do an open mic night at the Monkey House on Coldwell Street in Fitty.
Hey. Yeah.
Maddie, favorite tracks
Oh,
from Tali?
by far, blazing.
Really?
Honestly, I
gotta
swear
give
to
us a line,
God,
Maddie.
I swear to God, like, I think that was like the first drum and bass track that I'd heard with a female MC, and I must have been like, oh God, what was that, like 2005 or 4 or something?
Really?
Drop a line, Maddie.
Oh.
Do it, Maddie. Do it,
Do it,
Maddie.
Maddie.
It's the chance. It's the chance.
Blazing the lyrical trail through your mind and soul. This is how I like my beats to roll. Oh, I'm gonna cry.
Tali coming in to bust up the place. Better run if you don't want to roll with my bass. Do you guys, what's it like? Like, what's
Don't
the
even
vibe?
get me back for anyone that I love, okay? Like, this is
What's
embarrassing.
the vibe here for like playing new music? Do we have like a
If you can
send him
we
something
can.
new?
Yeah.
I could,
We can do
and can
that.
then we play it and I sing along with it?
Is it possible?
Is that possible? Okay, I'm gonna send. What's the email? We're just working out.
Do you want to say it or you want to tell me? We can, Tali. We can.
Yeah, we
What's
can.
what's your
maybe-
email?
Do you want to sing on the top of it?
Yeah.
So maybe Leo can put your cell phone on his microphone.
Can I?
Old school.
Yeah.
Here we go.
We'll
girl.
see. We'll see. If
We'll
the
see.
quality doesn't work, we'll. No. I'll
Okay.
do it here with mine. Yeah, because you might sing along, Maddie. You never know.
All right.
That's why I'm like, you know.
We'll try. If it doesn't work, we'll try something else.
All right. Okay. Are we really going to do this? Okay, hang on. Let me just find the master.
Yes.
So I've been working on some new tunes.
We love new tunes.
Yeah, and I've produced them all myself. But
I'm never getting invited back to the show ever again. Just
Why?
making
Why'd
an
you say
absolute
that?
dick in my face selfie, like
that, baby.
fangirling over here.
oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So what am I doing?
You're
There was
sending me your email so I can send you my
What do you
17
mean there was a
songs I wrote
problem
last year.
displaying your link?
Are you online? Do you?
Oh, no, you told me to turn off my jobby.
Bring that back. Bring it back.
Bring it
Audience,
back.
if you guys hear it, just
Sing it back. Bring it back. Oh, sing it back for me. Oh, Roisin Murphy, man.
Get it.
Okay, here you go. Ever enough?
We'll try. We'll see what happens.
This will be interesting. We just play it. Oh, it's a bit tinny, but you are not going to hear much this way.
Come on, where's the paper towel tube?
Am I getting it right?
I think you're turning it down.
Oh yeah.
I think it's still too quiet. What do you guys reckon? It's too
Too
quiet.
quiet.
The mix will be good.
Wait.
You want me to sing along to this?
Yes, please.
That's it.
Yeah.
Ooh. Ooh. Just a taster. Ooh. Ooh. I've swum in so many oceans, keeping my head above the water, even when the waves were rough. So many mixed emotions, and many times when I have almost fallen out of love. Ooh, too much invested to ever give up, but still I get to wondering when I'm on my own if I'm never enough, ever enough, if I'm ever enough, ever enough, ever enough for you. There you go. A little bit of a new song.
Yow!
So that's just a new track that I produced in the last month.
When is it coming out?
I don't know.
Right now.
I want to get a
It just
label
did.
to sign it.
Can I ask you, like,
Awesome.
where do you get your inspo to write your songs from? Because, like, we were talking earlier, I'm studying my teaching degree and stuff. When I can't write and get the shit out of my head for my essays, I write songs, and no one's ever heard them, but that's my inspiration. Like, I need to get the junk out of my head before I can focus on what I need to do. Is that similar to you, or is that just...
Sometimes. I mean, sometimes I'm just like, I don't know. It really just depends. Like sometimes if it's me that's writing the song, like if I'm producing the track, like I produced that beat, I started making that track myself, and then I'll just be singing along, ever enough for you, and then I'm like, ever enough, ever enough, ever enough. What am I singing about? Well, maybe I'm talking about the fact that I constantly still feel like I'm not enough for the music industry, that I'm not good enough. Okay, let's focus on that, you know? Other times like the other week, I was like,
concept?
yeah, so the other week I was like, I feel shit. I'm not on top of my game. So I'm going to write a song where I'm pretending I'm on top of my game. And I'm calling it I'm on a roll. So like, I'm on a roll. I take the opposition down a pole from my position. Those who thought I had them forward, yeah, they better get to know. You know, like I pretend like I'm on a roll. Like, yeah, just glass breaker, floor shaker, move, make a trailblazer, cutting through the fakers because we're sharper than a razor. Head high stamina, showing that we got the money out here in the jungle. That is how we keep from going under. Like, you know,
Yes,
that kind of
girl.
fight. So even though I'm feeling down, I'll write the
It flows.
opposite. I'll write the opposite of what I feel. So I'm like, I feel down, but I'm going to write a song about being empowered and braggy because it's a different kind of way to write, you know? And then
So-
other times I just go with what I'm
You
feeling.
just flow.
Yeah.
So your parents put you through the art schools and drama and teaching and everything for your fallback and stuff. But like when like, and you wanted to become an MC, but when did you start picking up the tools of your trade and start mixing and producing your own music?
So
And like, what were those tools? Like, if there's any advice you could give to like up and coming rangatahi who feel your vibe and might have this skill set, like, what is it they need to make a start on that?
well, I was very aware that the fact that I was a MC and a singer and a songwriter who relied on other people to make my beats was holding me back because it constantly meant that I had to wait for them to send me tunes. The tunes had to be things that I was feeling. Quite a lot of the time when you're MCing for DJs, it's very frustrating because they're not playing your music. You're constantly singing over other people's music. And so even though you're on stage, you're not showing off anything that is intrinsically yours, that you've created. It's really disheartening. It's very frustrating. And a lot of DJs don't really understand this about having an MC with you. Why it's important that you play their tunes, you know, like even just say to them, got a couple of tunes that I can play of yours? You know, it means a lot for us to be able to perform our music. So back in like
Partnership.
2015, I was like, I need to learn how to produce. Actually, formatively before that in 2006, 2007, with that boy, the one who broke my heart, he taught me how to produce on, can't think what the program was. It was something really basic, but he showed me how to use it because I had all these ideas and he was like, I can't sketch these ideas out for you. I'm producing all my own stuff. So he showed me how to use the program so that I could sketch out ideas. So even though they weren't fully formulated ideas, they were still demos, right? And then, so I was doing that and then he would turn them into fully fledged songs. And then in 2015, while I was living at home, I was like, I am just going to have a go at producing on GarageBand. You know, GarageBand comes free with your laptop, with your Mac. It's not that hard.
Can you write that down too?
It's really easy to use. It's very like intuitive based. So I just started making tracks on GarageBand, and I made a whole album on GarageBand. And when people were like, "Oh, what program did you use to produce this?" I was embarrassed, and I'd be like, "GarageBand," because it's sort of embarrassing, like it's baby stuff. But nobody knew that because the stuff that I was writing was actually sick. And also because it's such a limited program, you're really challenged. And so you have to learn to kind of like navigate these limitations and find different ways to create outside of these.
Get your sound across.
Yeah. So it's like you're in this box and it's like, what can I do to get outside of that box and still get the sound how I want it? Then during lockdown, I was like, well, I mean, this is a golden opportunity.
If
there's ever a time to learn how to use Logic.
Skill.
Yeah, so I started learning Logic, and I truly believe that in those 2 years, I mean, I made an album. I made Future Dwellers. And the other thing that I did was, in the past, I'd always been like in such a rush to put stuff out. And I got funding for this album. And because of funding, I was like, I don't need to rush, and I can pay people, local people, what they deserve to do the things that I can't do. So rather than me sit here and stress and try and mix down an album, I'm going to pay Tiki Tane to do it. I get to go and hang out with my best friend. I get to sit at the big desk in Tauranga, and he can, in Papamoa, and he can show me what to do and how we do it. And we talk about it. He'd be like, what do you want this to sound like? La, la, la. And create something that actually is what I want. With no rushing, with the budget.
No settling.
Yeah, and enjoying the journey. And so I would say for people out there who are wanting to put out music, learn as much as you can. Like, knowledge is power. And as long as it's in your field, your craft, something that interests you, then how can you go wrong? And now I just want to know more. And now I want to teach it. Now I'm like, I'll teach Logic 101 at your school, and I'll teach to a bunch of women if they want it, like young girls, let me teach them. Because I also feel like I've sat in classes where dudes have taught, and not going to lie, but boys do learn differently to girls.
Absolutely.
And also creatives learn differently to non-creatives, and visual learners learn differently to oral learners, and who learn differently to oral learners, who learn differently to kinesthetic learners. So we're all different, and as long as I can pass on some wisdom and help uplift and educate others so they can feel as empowered as I do, then we're all winning.
Chin chin.
Yeah.
Chin chin. We got a message from the audience.
Really?
Yeah.
People listening?
We got some stuff going on, but this one I think I feel like I should read it.
20 people?
No, it's been
Kia ora.
it's been good. Kia ora, MC Tali. Been listening to you since I found Jet Set Love a decade ago. I was 13 and life was forever changed. Just a little kid from the west coast of Tamaki, Makaurau. Now he's studying at Oxford in the UK. Much aroha now and always. That's Zach DV, my man.
Oh, Zach, man, congrats, bro. Studying in the UK, that's awesome.
Oxford.
We got our friends from Hotter 55 podcast watching us as well. Shout out. So yeah, the podcast scene is tuning in, and we're creating a movement. That's for sure. Thanks for supporting us. Thanks,
thanks for supporting us. This is really cool. I love your mahi. Like, that's only my second ever podcast. I've never been filmed either, and I've never been drunk on a podcast. I'm quite drunk. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm glad we're starting it here in a safe space.
I've got half a bottle of wine, but I am a cheap drunk.
Not gonna lie, I had 3 drinks before I got here.
Not that we're advocating alcohol either.
Absolutely no, but
But it helps.
Having fun. Thank you so much. This is amazing.
This is it.
It's not. But I'm just saying thankful. I'm just saying thank you for being so upfront and open about these topics. Like that's what we're going for. The idea for the show is to bring conversations.
Did you guys want to talk about my book?
I would love to know more about the book.
Your book because
you talked about it, you mentioned it earlier, and then I kind of was like, let's take it back to
we're talking about Mum's Days.
Yes, please.
So let's go on the book.
2018 was that when you published it?
Yeah. So I always, when my mum and I used to drive to Hawara in the car, we would always talk about story ideas. We always constantly had story ideas. Mum would be like, what about a story about this? And I'd be like, what about this? And we'd come up with the concept and la la la. And anyway, I've always wanted to write a book. I've written poetry. I've written stories I've never finished. My mum is a massive, massive supporter or an encourager of me writing. And she was like, I think you should write a story. So it was her. She had the idea. She was like, mama. What about Kia ora mama? She was like, what about you write a story about the little white house, the workers' cottage. There was a workers' cottage on the Eltham Road in Awatuna where I lived, down the road from us. It was a real transient cottage and people used to come and go. Mum's like, what if you wrote a story about the house and all the people that live there? And I went, what if I wrote it and the house told the story?
I love it.
What if the storyteller was the house? And she was like, oh, yes. And I was like, right, okay, that's what I'm going to do. So I said to Dad, how was the house built? Who was the first people to live there? My mum and Dad lived there when they first got married.
No way.
Yeah, my mum was hapu and she had to sell her surfboard in order to buy a cot.
Oh, for you?
Nah, for my brother.
Oh.
I'm the youngest of 4. But they're in the story, but I've changed their names. So everyone that's in the story is kind of based on people that did live, and then I've taken some liberties and I've created, invented some people. But the whole story is about this little cottage that's stuck basically on the side of the Eltham Road in Awatuna. It has a view of Mount Taranaki and it can see the view and it can see the calves in the field, and it talks about the rain and the wind, but it also talks about learning. The more that as time goes by and people bring the wireless or radio into the house, and then they bring a record player, and then they eventually bring a TV, and the house learns about the world, and it learns about things like there's beaches out there, and it learns that the line that it can see, the silvery line it can see in the distance, is called a horizon, and it dreams of seeing and visiting and being, and it knows that it can never move. And so it's this very bittersweet story, because obviously the house ages.
It's evolving and aging, but it's stuck.
It's stuck, and it's also subject to the emotions. It soaks up and is permeated by all the emotions and the trauma that go through its roofs, and some pretty dark shit happens in that house that the house is subject to witnessing, can't unsee. And then there's times when it's alone and no one lives there for years.
And it's lonely.
And the paint is peeling and dusty, and it remembers the time before. It has these visuals of being a tree, and it remembers
it's
wind.
a tupuna in a sense, comes and goes.
Yeah, and I remember I cried several times in this book when I was writing it. Yeah. And then right towards the end, there's this twist.
Okay, don't tell us the twist.
I won't tell you the twist, but the house is old, and the house is going to...
Clark Gayford, your mate Jacinda's husband, comes along in the episode of Moving Houses, and he uplifts it and takes up to Kiri, and it gets it. That's what happens, eh? Haven't ever read the book.
Basically, yes. You've just ruined. You've ruined the twist.
Did I actually? Oh, we're definitely going to be friends after this. Did I actually?
Yeah.
Fuck. I was just totally going when my brain took me.
No, I don't know. I'm playing with you. I'm playing with you.
Did you?
But I'm playing with you. So the house is old, and it's about resignation and acceptance and understanding that you can be in one place, but you're not confined by the people.
Your paradigms.
Well, you're not confined by your paradigms. You are more than where you are and who lives in you, basically, or who your family is, or your society. That's what the biggest sort of story is, and it's what the house kind of learns at the very end. And towards the end, man, that book was writing itself. I was crying my eyes out, typing on my laptop,
just flowing
just
through
crying
you.
Because I was like, this is fucking writing itself. But also, I was like, I'm nearly finished.
I'm the vessel, but yay, it's over.
And also, this is awesome. I've written a really great ending.
How long did it take you to write this?
About a year.
Amazing.
Yeah, and every day I would be...
And it's published and out there on the bookstores?
No, it's not. So it came out on Pegasus Books, which is a UK publisher, but it's called Vanity Publishing. So you pay $2,000 and then they pay the rest.
Yep.
And they publish it, they put it out. My mum painted the cover of the book, so that the cover of the book is one of my mum's pictures. You can Google that, by the way, The Little White House by Natalia Shepherd, Pegasus Books. An image might come up. But what happens is after 2 years of publication, if the book is not like some like a massive bestseller, they drop you basically. They don't publish anymore. So you could maybe buy it on Amazon as a ebook.
Yeah.
But you can't buy it, the physical copies. So I've actually just sent it off to Penguin.
Yep.
To see if they would maybe
Pick it up.
publish it. Please, if there's a New Zealand publishing
on.
company out there
Come on,
who would like
New
to
Zealand
publish it.
publisher.
Because it's like
Come
it's
on.
published. It was published by a UK house, and it's a New Zealand story. It's a Taranaki story.
Yeah, like let's tautoko our creators from Aotearoa who have incredible talent, and like
And you know what? It's a good book, and I know it's a good book because I read a lot of books, and I love books, and I know that what I've written is good. So, yeah, I'd like to see. But anyway, what an amazing achievement to write a book and have it out, and it's something I've always wanted to do, and I'd like to try and write another one day.
Did you have mum editing the book as well?
Yep. So I read it to mum and dad, and they'll be like, nah, there wasn't a tanker track in the 50s because there were no tankers. And I'll be like, what was it? And they're like, it's called a farm track. And I'm like, well, who got the milk then, if not the tractors or not the tankers? And they'll be like, a horse and dray with barrels on the back of it. Used to collect
what's
the milk.
that?
Yeah. And I'd say to my mum, what were the walls if they didn't have wallpaper? And she'd be like, scrim. I'm like, what the hell's scrim? She's like, sacking.
like Hessian
Yes.
with like some
Yeah, Hessian on the walls.
Yeah.
That's what the walls were made of. So my parents were
Helped
massively,
you.
yeah, they
Massive
helped me get
editors.
the era right. Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Shout out to the fun. Wow, so supportive. That's was it hard for you to drop some parts? Were they like tough when they had to?
No, mum kept going, you need to put this in, you need to put that in. I'd be like, don't want to, not doing it. Shut up.
You're like, this is my book.
Yeah.
Paint your pictures.
But my mum is also an amazing storyteller as well. And she has got like her book, The Portrait of a Power. If you read that, which you can buy, that is like on the first page, she'll be like, she talks about going to collect powers as a child. 7 children down at the beach with sacks, scourging around the rocks, getting power. And then on the next page, she'll show her power paintings. And on the third page, it's a workbook page, and she'll show you how to paint power in the book. So every chapter has a story about her life, and then
a tutorial.
and there's my book. Yeah, there it is. That's
there you go.
that's what the house looked like.
Add to cart.
Can
Yes,
you buy
please.
it? What's this on?
What is it?
Amazon. There you go.
So you can edit on Amazon
So it's
into
an
your Kindle.
ebook. It's an ebook. So you still can buy it as an ebook.
Which one is the one that you print by demands that the guy came here to talk?
Amazon.
Amazon, eh?
Yeah.
That, like they can print
you
for
can,
you
add
as
up.
a demand?
You can
Yeah, there's a-
register as an Amazon affiliate,
There's a deal.
and they
yeah.
will print it for you.
Yeah, I don't know
And they'll take, like, a
how
percentage or something.
great it would be. There, like how much you would get, but they print as they sell.
Yeah.
Look, here we go. Here's a little bit from the book. I thought of all the people who had lived within my embrace and the emotions they had expressed that had unconsciously permeated every inch of my being. I may not be alive in the human sense of the word, but I was very much alive because of the energy that had seeped through my walls, my floor, my ceiling, as if the breath of others within my rooms had breathed life into my very soul. Based on the story of a little white house that did indeed exist in rural New Zealand, the story weaves reality with fantasy, telling the tale of all who live there from the perspective of the house itself. As the house becomes conscious and self-aware, it begins to learn and grow, yet this desire for knowledge and understanding comes at a cost. Over time, the little white house realizes that it can never move from the side of the road where it is positioned. I don't know. Can't read the rest of it, but there you go.
Wow, you sold the book, all right.
So have you
How
always been really
amazing.
good at talking shit?
Talking shit.
Your yarns just flow, you know, like it's great. I love it.
I mean, yeah. Depends what you call shit, innit?
Shit.
The Little White House.
That's beautiful, dude.
There
Thank
you
you.
go. Next time you come back, you bring some copies, please.
Honestly,
Yeah.
If you have some.
Sure, I've got
at
about
home.
4 left.
That'd be good.
Tali, like I was fangirling from like a track I heard in 2005, and after I like had the opportunity to have dinner and meet you and have some drinks and stuff and like hear your story, I'm just like so much more inspired. I've been quite stuck as a trainee teacher in my studies at the moment. and just being a wahine Māori in this weird space of this world in 2023. And like, I just want to say, he mihi nui ki a koe. He wahine tō you know, like.
Oh, thank you. But you are too.
I'm not going to cry.
You are
but,
as well, though.
Have another gin. No.
You are also
No.
a wahine toa. Like, thank you. I mean, I'm just trying to, like I said, I'm trying not to cry now too. I'm just trying to leave a legacy because I can't have children. So my legacy is, you know, books and music. But more than that, I want people to remember things I taught them and like lessons they learned and that
Times
knowledge
they shared with you.
Yeah, and knowledge should be things that we pass on, you know, like knowledge is not
Absolutely.
something that my mum and I both, because my mum does art classes as well. She does a lot of teaching too. She taught at my high school. And we're both really big believers of knowledge is not something that should be kept under lock and key, but, you know, knowledge and experience are things that should be shared, you know. And like my mum will call me and she'll be like, oh, I feel so inadequate. I haven't done this. I'm like, Mum, you're 75. Take a day off.
Have a cup of tea.
Yeah,
like,
she's so ambitious and she constantly never feels like she's enough. And I think, you know, and I'm the same because I see her like that and I'm the same. And I say to her, look, Mum, we have to remember that we are enough and that what we are doing and what we are leaving behind is really beautiful and valuable. But it's not about the things we leave behind. It's not about the paintings. It's not about the songs. It's about the knowledge and the wisdom that we impart and the impact that we make on people's lives.
the modi you leave with
The
people.
modi is so much more important than the things. So that is a lesson I want to impart with everyone.
Things are just things.
Things are things. Like, do the things for sure. Paint the picture, write the book, do the album, run the race, sew the clothes, whatever it is you need to do you. But it's about how you treat people. It's how you move through life. And it's also about how you enjoy the present moment. Like, don't constantly be grasping for the future and living in hope and living in what if. Enjoy the moment.
live in the present.
Yeah, the journey is so fun and so exciting and important and just as valuable as the end result. In fact, the end result is fucking nothing without the journey.
If you're not in the here and the now,
Yeah,
not going to get
you
to
know
the...
I'm hugely influenced by Eckhart Tolle and his book A New Earth, like living in the present moment, valuing life as it is now, like forgetting about the past, not living in the... I'm also a marriage celebrant and I marry people.
Oi, true story. I've literally been looking at doing this because I'm like, I feel like I'm a great speaker and I could be that person.
You'd be awesome. But
Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here today.
I do this whole thing in my marriage ceremony where I talk about living in the present moment and accepting the relationship as it is now, and that relationships should be like islands, visited and abandoned by the tides, you know, and no matter how stormy the sea is, if we are able to navigate it with key things like forgiveness, patience, tolerance, love, compassion, empathy, then, you know, we'll be able to sail whatever the sea is, whatever the stormiest of storms.
What's that song? Islands in the sea, that is what we are.
The late great Kenny Rogers and the amazing Dolly Parton.
Kia ora.
Tali, wow. What a pleasure. For us, it means a lot because Taylor and I, we've been here for 10 years and we are doing the best we can to understand Aotearoa New Zealand culture.
You guys are doing great, by the way.
To bring cool people, you know, like, because the community is amazing and it's a big thing for us to bring people from the community, but we are expanding. It's just what it is. So every time that we do some research, and when I came across you, because I knew from a few years ago, like, MC Tali, she's the shit, man. She's doing cool stuff. And reaching out, getting a cool response, it shows so much about the personality of someone, like
Humble girl.
caring, you know, like you just bothered replying, you know, like, let's see what's up, and Fitianga sounds okay.
I'm just
So
very
that was
open
very
to...
cool.
Oh, well,
Thank
you
so
for hitting
much.
me up. I'm just like, I'm always up for an adventure and a bit of fun and any excuse especially
Shaky
after
little
COVID.
airplanes.
After COVID, man, like, let's just get out of freaking Tamaki Makaurau and do something. And so thank you so much for having me. It's been my absolute pleasure. It's really awesome to meet all three of you.
Thank you.
And thanks for dinner. Thanks for putting me up. And, you know, I'll go back to Auckland tomorrow singing your praises. No doubt about it.
We'll
Brilliant.
bring you back.
I expect a friend request, by the way.
What? Support friend request. Accepted.
Just saying.
Accepted.
Killed it.
Thank you so much. What a pleasure. Good luck and have fun in Europe. Amazing.
Thank you.
And let's bring Tali back, eh? Let's get some more
Absolutely. Bring some more
for
friends.
a gig in the Coromando and another chat. Maybe we bring Ellipsa. Sorry.
Ellipsa.
Ellipsa. Yeah, we bring
I
you
mean,
to.
if
Do you know what? I had this great
Drum and
idea
bass, yeah.
because, like I was saying, my kids are big, massive drum and bass fans. So I was thinking about running a fundraiser for my punareo called Drum and Crash.
I love it. Yes.
Drum and Crash.
Right. And what is it? A daytime party?
It's a daytime party. We play drum and bass, but we have like crash services and snacks.
And people
And
putting
it's
in
alcohol
money.
free and stuff. And everyone just donates us money
Yep. Love it.
Like
because we
that,
need the
yeah.
playground.
Sounds
so
good.
that'd be great.
Well,
You got Altbays.
count me in.
You heard it here first in life. Drum and Crash, it's a vibe.
It's a vibe.
And we're live every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Thank you so much. Beautiful Wahine here tonight with us.
Maddie,
Thanks,
whānau.
Taylor. And
Maddie.
can you close that for us, Maddie, please?
Anei mihi nui kia koutou. Thank you for tuning into the Altbays Live. Please hit the link and tautoko the I Am Hope Foundation fundraiser for our whānau Te Paia and the Gumboot Friday fundraiser. Big ups to MC Tali.
And if you're out there in broadcasting, give this girl a fucking job.
I'm poor student, please employ me. Kia ora mo te reta. Ko Madeline Johnson, Altbays TV.
Kakite, peace.
You need to tell them on radio.